Welcome back to the Hardington Jones podcast. This is Friday, September the 20th, 2024. It is about 8:40 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:40 p.m. Central Standard Time, because I now live in Wisconsin. So I'm your host, Todd Harding. This is my co-host, Todd Jones. How are you?
I'm good.
Great. Well, it's been 8 years.
Third time's the charm, buddy.
And shout out to Frank Brown, our good friend from Bloomsburg University, for motivating me to finally get this, to at least try to get this podcast going again. Because essentially, we were talking about how this basically happened. Was we were laughing about, the Kelsey Brothers podcast. They signed like $100 million contract because they're on top of the podcasting world. And we were just laughing about that over text messages. And then he said, I said, yeah, I'm like, the Hardington Jones podcast didn't get picked up. And then he he texted me like episode 1, you know what I mean? Because we had some like references, the first episode we did 8 years ago, so I listened to it. And he just kind of motivated me, I'm like, I'm just gonna reach out to Jonesy and see if he can, get some time, right? So
right. Listen, I was listening to him again too. I threw him back on and listened to a couple of them. It was a BOC edition and some sports. It was funny listening to the sports at that time that Brad was going. Pretty funny.
Yeah, the 2016. Yeah, I actually did that on my work commute. I listened to the last episode we did with Brad. So yeah, we're just, and it was about this time, late September, 8 years ago, when we did the last episode. So to our fans, we apologize a long way. I know it's been 8 years, but
I'm sure a lot's changed for everybody.
I know. No, what's happened in those years? A global pandemic. We survived that. I moved to Wisconsin. You know what I mean? Your girls now are like teenagers.
Yep.
So, but the premise of this podcast, is going to be football. So, if you're not into college football or the NFL, the current college football in the NFL, or we're going to be nostalgic too. We're going to talk about old school college football and the old school NFL from the 20th century when we were growing up. So that's the premise of this podcast. So if you're not into that, you might as well put on some true crime broadcasts. You know what I mean?
Well,
so,
we could connect some true crime stories, I'm sure, to our NFL guys now.
the Aaron Hernandez story is coming out.
I saw that. I didn't see that. I saw that. I was like, oh my God.
That actually looks pretty good though, because he was like a freaking serial killer playing for the New England Patriots.
Who's releasing that? Is that a Netflix or ESPN or?
That's a good question. I have to look it up. I forget. Was it maybe Team Z? No.
Okay, I did see it though. I did see it was coming out.
Yeah, I'm not sure what platform it's on, but it actually looks pretty good for a true crime. It actually looks pretty good.
It's just a crazy story. It is pretty crazy.
Yeah, because he got away with it for a long time. So, but
yeah.
But no, we're going to be. We're not going to. We're going to get into some topics. Like Todd Jones is a Chicago Bears fan. His whole life, and he's a Miami Hurricanes college football fan for pretty much his whole life. So we're going to talk about the roots of how he got into those teams. And we're going to start with, I think, is the greatest football team of all time, is the 1985 Chicago Bears. Remember that squad, Jonesy?
Oh, yeah. That's I agree. I'd have to say it was almost the best except for that one loss. But, yeah.
Yeah, of course, they lost to the douchebag Miami Dolphins. And I can't stand every year. It's the most douchey thing in the world is when, like the final NFL team loses that's undefeated. They like bring out the champagne. These like old men bring out the champagne and like, oh, we're the only undefeated team. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I don't care. I don't care for the 72 Dolphins. And they're not the best team ever. They're not. The best team ever is the 1985 Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I would. I mean, as a fan, definitely, I agree. They just dominate. I don't know what happened that day, but they dominated the league, and that their playoff march was unbelievable too. Their playoffs were they shut everybody out in the playoffs, and then went on.
Yeah, well, it's the old. Sure, it's the old adage. Offense wins games, but defense wins championship, and that was definitely the best defense ever. You know what I mean?
That defense was nasty.
The defense coordinator was Buddy Ryan. The head coach was Mike Ditka. And the best part is like it was like 80s, the middle of the 80s, where like brand marketing was like taking off in this country, and they totally sold the Bears. Like, remember, like the '80s Super Bowl shuffle and all that stuff.
I was going to get into that when you said they were the best team, and they took over media like no other team that ever did in the NFL too. They just took over the whole thing. Yeah, the Super Bowl shuffle. They were in every commercial. You got the refrigerator doing the Coca-Cola commercials. He's drinking like 30 packs of Coca-Cola. I mean, they did take that over. You got Jim McMahon. I mean, he's
with
a
the
bad
shades.
boy.
Yeah.
They were all into something. We had it was great. We had WWF wrestlers at the time when it was called the WWF. We had players wrestling in the WWF like championship matches.
Yeah, and that was before the WWF came out, as it was still claiming to be real back then. They didn't come out. They didn't say, "Oh, by the way, this is all fake," until like the end of the decade. They're like, "Oh, by the way, this is all scripted." But at that time, they were still pretending it was real. You know what I mean? So, which just adds to the funniness of it.
It is. Yeah, it was a crazy time. The '85 Bears. So that was some crazy.
So I mean, Dick does this crazy. Dick does the legendary coach, and Saturday Night Live hit a home run with the Bears skit.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean,
that was a show in himself. I mean, Mike Dick is your coach. I mean, he was a show in himself. Mike Dick.
He was, yeah.
I mean, he was doing interviews with no pants on. I don't know if you ever saw that. I mean, you had to see if you watched some NFL like network stuff. He's doing an interview and he goes, "I'm done here." He stands up. He's got a nice shirt on, but he walks off. He's in his underwear.
Really?
Oh yeah. Check it out on YouTube. I'll send you some of those files. It's hilarious. Yeah.
That's funny, man. That's hilarious.
Yeah, Dick was a one and only one of those coaches that just really sticks out. Everybody knew Dick. Come on, everybody knows who Dick is.
It was a perfect time to have a coach like that. In in the huge Midwest city, Chicago. It's just so great. You know what I mean? And also too, playing Tecmo Bowl. You know what I mean? The original Tecmo Bowl was that the '85 Bears, I think, or maybe like '86 Bears, or
that was the team. I mean, they had all their guys on there. Your Richard Dent, Walter Payton in the backfield. I used to love taking Walter Payton in Tecmo Bowl. I'd like run down to my end zone and run back and score a touchdown.
Oh, I know, he was impossible to catch.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he was just like, they made him just so fast. Him and like Bo Jackson from like the LA Rangers.
He was the only guy that stood next to him. Was Bo Jackson had the same kind of playability in that game. But Tecmo Bowl, that took off. That was I believe like one of the first games that was licensed with the NFL names in it. Like you actually saw the players.
Yep, it was. Yeah, it was the first video game to like partner with the NFL and license the players, and they only had like the playoff teams, I think. You know what I mean? Or they didn't have this Tecmo did not have all the NFL teams.
Sadly, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were in there.
No, when they had the orange uniforms.
Yeah, I think they they used Tecmo was the Walter Payton slap in the air when you get a touchdown. That was what Walter Payton used to jump up in the air and do the slap hands.
Yes.
That game was
definitely he did that in real life, Yeah. Sweetness,
Sweetness, man. What a player he was too. I mean, outstanding. Just different players at that time, different game. That old school football. There was something about it. It just was I don't know.
Yeah.
There was no flags, basically.
No, it was a different game. You know what I mean? And that era was just just so much fun. You know what I mean? And all the players were just legendary. Including like Walter Payton. That's like somebody you can't replace. There'll never be another Walter Payton.
Right.
Just the whole iconic of him and how he was, one of the top 5 running backs and just great off the field. Like they still have the NFL has that Walter Payton Man of the Year award named after him. So.
Yeah, big award. The characters on that team, though. I mean, with your Jim McMahons, your refrigerators, Richard Dent, Mike Singletary.
Yep.
A lot of coaches came out of there.
Dan Hampton in that great defensive line.
Yeah, Steve McMichael's one of those guys. He's sadly he's just about the guy. They just inducted Steve McMichael. That was the Mongo. He was the one that went on and wrestled in the WWF. As a joke, they brought him in there like he was still playing football. But yeah, he's got something that's really slowed down. I mean, he shrunk away to nothing, but they just inducted him in the Hall of Fame, so that was pretty cool.
That's great. Definitely. I mean, they definitely deserve it. I think, the 2007 Patriots, if they would have won that Super Bowl when the Giants upset them, that would have been the best team ever because
they
went undefeated and they got to the Super Bowl, but they just freaking got upset by the Giants. Eli Manning just had like a fluke game, but the 85 Bears, they killed New England. I mean, that that was like one of the biggest at the time, one of the most lopsided Super Bowls.
Yeah, it's up there as one of the top, right? That 46-10.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
killed them.
they said people just were so afraid to play the Bears. I mean,
Yeah.
was that Buddy Ryan, like you say, you were mentioning Buddy Ryan. He came out with that 4-6 defense where they're all up at the line. You didn't know who was coming or who was, not. And they were those guys were nasty. They were nasty out there. They just barking. Yep. They really were out there barking at, the quarterbacks. And I'm coming for you. I'm going to get you,
Yeah, literally. You know what I mean? And Buddy Ryan was just like a great innovator of defense. He was just ahead of the curve and just, he's had the right players. You know what I mean? It's the best defense ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everything.
They all say it too. Like even like, at NFL training camps, like, oh, what do you think? You're the 85 Bears. If you watch like Hard Knocks, like they all know that's the standard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Funny thing is, Buddy Ryan though, him and Dickett didn't see eye to eye.
No, you're right. You're right.
And, I believe it was the first and only Super Bowl where they lifted both the defensive coordinator and the head coach off on the shoulders after it was over. That was a big thing, a big controversy. Like the guy lifted Buddy Ryan up, walked him up off the shoulders. But all in all, Dickett talks very highly of him in a lot of his interviews, and I do like Mike Dickett the way he talked, and he talked highly of Buddy Ryan. Said, "Hey, we didn't see eye to eye in some things, whatever. That's football, but never bashed him."
Yeah, well, Buddy Ryan went on to go to the Eagles, where he was legendary there. Those late '80s Eagles teams were fucking outstanding. Sorry, whoops. But beat that one out. But those those Randall Cunningham Eagles teams were so much fun to watch.
Oh, Randall Cunningham. I mean, he was phenomenal to watch. I loved Randall Cunningham. I mean, seeing him come out there. I just actually watched a reel on him the other day. It was insane. Just watching him. Like, I remember the play. It's like always on highlights where he's in the end zone. He almost falls down, like stops himself with a hand, and he just like 70 yards for I think it was a touchdown. He was unreal.
Yeah.
He was at the time when he came out like that.
Yeah, the athletic quarterback,
Yeah, he was the beginning of it from what I recall. I don't know anybody that was quite like that.
Yeah, and Buddy Ryan was the coach of those Eagles. You know what I mean? And they had a great defense, like Seth Joyner, and then they just had a great team, great defense, great weapons. It's just that they choked in the playoffs. They could never get to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? They would just choke in the playoffs. And I think they played the Fog Bowl, if I remember. They played in Chicago.
Yes,
was the Fog Bowl or an Ice Bowl?
That was the Fog Bowl. There was some Ice Bowls, but that was the Fog Bowl. You couldn't even see. I don't know how they played that game. The Bears won that game, and the whole thing, just a big cloud settled over the stadium, and you could not see anything. I don't even know how the refs called that. I catch that every once in a while in the NFL. That game.
It's amazing they just played the game. I mean, you couldn't see anything. You know what I mean?
No, I didn't know how they even threw the ball in that game is beyond me. Like, I don't know how they did it. It was a rare thing. You think today that'd be called. They would never let that play.
No, definitely not. So, but it was just a different era, 40 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, but it was a great time to grow up and watch the game because it was just so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The NFL was really coming into its own at that time, so, but, going back to switching over to the college years, like, I think like the glory years, my favorite era of college was like growing up because, we grew up in the 80s and 90s was, the late 80s, early 90s college football year, especially the 1991 Miami Hurricanes. I think that's one of the reasons. I know they had some teams in the 80s, but I think that 91 team, was probably the reason why you kind of fell in love with that program,
Yeah, the Hurricane, right? The 80s they were pretty good in the 80s, but yeah, the 90s is where they really came into it. In the late 90s, and it's the early 2000s. But 91, yeah, that was they took there's a lot of defense on that team. I don't recall the running backs being what they were in the future, but I think that was what's his name? QB was Gino
Toretta, right?
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. They had that, but they had a bunch of linebackers that came out of there. Some Armsteads, Barrows. I know. You know who was on that team too? The most universal. What would we say? Universal movie man in the world, I guess. That was the Rock. Dwayne Johnson was on that team.
Was he on that team?
Yes, he was.
I did not know that. That's wow. I know he played there, but I did not know he was, on that team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The Rock was on there.
Wow, that's great. That's great, man.
But yeah, Miami. I don't know. It's weird because like just growing up in our area. I mean, a lot of us. I always followed Penn State, of course, where we're at, and Penn State, Notre Dame was big in our area. Everybody loved Notre Dame, and
Yep.
a lot of people loved the Eagles. A lot of people loved Steelers. I was just an oddball. I love football. I love playing football, but somehow the Bears grabbed me. Just that nasty defense, just who the Bears were. They were, and of course, they were all over TV. I was like, I love this team.
Yeah.
Hurricanes kind of had a little bit of that swagger, that edge. They're coming out of the smoke, the old Orange Bowl, and I'm like, wow, this team just they were lighting it up too. Their defense is killing people, and it kind of drew me to follow the Hurricanes.
Yeah, Sebastian, the mascot, was awesome.
Oh yeah, I actually found out why that is their mascot. Do you know why that's their mascot?
Not sure 100%.
So the way they say it is after a hurricane, the first animal to appear is that the ibis. It comes out after the hurricanes, the first animal to come out. So really? Sebastian is the ibis. That's what he is.
That's great. I did not know that. That's great.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like you got the Miami Hurricanes and you got the ibis as the mascot, and you're like, why is this bird the mascot for Miami? But that's
got the memory of like the early '90s legendary Miami Florida State games, and Florida State always choked with those field goals, and Sebastian would be running out. No.
Nothing worse than being the field goal kicker and having the mascot in your face after you just blew it.
He's just like, no good. So
nightmares. I think it was like 4 times, and then it would come back to haunt them later down. A couple seasons later, it'd haunt them again and again. It was like, so many times back to back, a field goal would determine their fates.
It was just like a botched field goal at the end to win it.
They were the good old days for Miami. This season, currently, right now, it feels like I could actually enjoy some Miami football again. But back in the day, I loved it. I loved watching Miami. It was every time it was on, it was like, all right, let's go beat the team up.
In that 1991 season, actually, Penn State played them rough. They were ranked number 9 at the time. It was the October game. It was in the Orange Bowl, Miami, a 12 o'clock start, and Miami beat them 26-20, but Penn State came to play, they were in the game, you know what I mean? I don't remember 100% that game, but I remember them being on the road, you know what I mean? And I think that was when Penn State had Tony Sacco was their quarterback. There was great Penn State teams at that time, So
yeah, Penn State was always a tough team, and every time they didn't get to play that much, but as they played throughout the years of us being fans of both of those teams, Penn State always played tough. That was always a tough game against those two.
Yeah, they were. They're always competitive games.
What year was the fatigue game where Miami was up on top of the world and Penn State brought them down to reality?
Yeah, that was 87 Fiesta Bowl. That's when Penn State upset them.
Yes. Miami came out in the military fatigues.
Yeah, exactly.
A little too arrogant, and Penn State brought them back down to earth.
They did, yeah. Yeah, that was the big upset. You know what I mean? That was unfortunately the last time they won a national championship. I
was gonna say that was Penn State's national championship run, right? Yeah.
6, and they haven't won since then, So, but like I said, we're in the new era now. Like you said, the Hurricanes are off to a good start here in 2024. So that's
good. You got this new playoff system. So anything goes in those playoffs, and
because you had they realigned the conferences. You had the 2 super conferences in the North. You have the coast to coast Big Ten, Super Big Ten, and in the South you have the SAC. So the good news is that if you lose one game, you're not out. You know what I mean? You can lose up to 2 games and still get in, and then finally have a playoff where they're going at it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
they finally got it. I think there should be more tweaking maybe in about 10 years, but it's definitely a lot better than it used to be, with the crappy, bowl championship system. And
there was a bad taste in a lot of teams. Matt, you'd watch, how is this? Like even last year, I mean, I wonder how long the ACC is going to hold up before teams like Miami and jump out of there. I mean, there was already that controversy with Florida State. Florida State won the ACC, won the championship, and got denied an entry. And I mean, got denied the whole playoff system, which was kind of a little crazy, but I think that's what helped them, push this new playoff system. So hopefully it works out. But how about, what is kind of crazy for all these players now? Think about how many games they play as opposed to what they used to play. Yeah. They're going to play an NFL schedule as many games.
Yeah, because they have their 12 regular season games, and if you get in, with the 12-team playoff, that's another, 1, 2, 3 more games. You know what I mean?
At least, right? That if you make it, I mean, right. So they're tagging
But
on. You're going late in college football now.
what I don't like, though, is that they still have the national championship game on like a Monday in January. It's like kind of
It's a downer.
it's a downer. No one wants to watch Monday Night Football, especially when the NFL playoffs start. Like everyone just tunes out of college. Like I wish they would change it and just have the national championship game on New Year's Day, because that's traditionally the day everybody wants to watch college football.
Yeah, I do wonder why that Monday is it is a killer. It's a downer. I'm like sitting on my couch falling asleep.
Yeah, it is.
I should be a Saturday night hanging out with some friends, or if you're out at a restaurant or a bar or something. Like I can't see why they're not doing it. First of all, on the financial end, it seems like it'd be a moneymaker, just all your businesses.
Rating, yeah, the ratings would be higher. The bars would be all full with people.
Oh yeah,
a Saturday or a New Year's Day game. It's just
families around, everybody's in. It just has that great flavor just to do that. But yeah, I don't know what they think about that.
Yeah, that's my only criticism, is that they still have that Monday in January national championship game. And once the NFL playoff starts, everyone's zoned in on that. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's the when the NFL gets really, really good is January, February. That's when go at it. So. But, to college football's credit, it's definitely, I know there's some critics out there that don't like the transfer portal and the NIL, but it's just get with the times. You know what I mean? Get with the times.
Yeah, it was coming. It was inevitable. And, for me, as a Miami Hurricane fan, I'm definitely liking it now. Mm-hmm. I mean, we got. I think they say this steal the set, like with that quarterback we have now, that Cam Ward. He's phenomenal. I mean, Miami hasn't had a quarterback like that in quite some time.
Yeah, because the coaches bail. The coaches make a sick amount of money. You know what I mean? And they bail whenever they want.
Yeah, they bail, and then you had as these bowl games became a little crazy, the crazy bowl game. Players are just not even showing up for their final bowl games. They're just bailing out. It's like, okay.
Yeah, they all opt out. Like once they're draft eligible, all of them started to opt out. That's how bad like the postseason got. In the last few years, it just got. Because like I remember Penn State played Mississippi in a big bowl. You know what I mean? But all the players opted out. So ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So. Like I said, it's a new era. I think it's gonna be really exciting. You know what I mean? So I look forward to it. I hope Penn State can qualify. We'll see.
Yeah, well, they're undefeated now, and and those first couple of games are always shaky. It's like their preseason at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, but like I said, with the new Super Big Ten, you have the West Coast teams on the schedule now. You have Washington, and you have UCLA, USC. I love it. You know what I mean?
I'm excited to see that. It's something that we haven't seen before, really, besides them playing them in a bowl game. So it's going to be exciting. I think I like it too.
Yeah, I love it. You know what I mean? I know some people don't, but I love that they're going out, on the road to USC and playing in, the Coliseum and, playing the Oregon Ducks. It's just great. You know what I mean? It's just something different. You bonus, you kind of get sick of playing Purdue every year. You know what I mean?
Right. Breath of fresh air for you guys, for everybody. It is. It's going to be exciting. It's bring something new, and I think it's good all around for college football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Hurricanes, like I said, they're off to a great start. And I know the fan base there is excited about this year's team. So I hope they qualify. I'd love to see Miami in the playoff. That'll be great if they can get.
Yeah, I think college football is better when Miami's in there. Yeah, unfortunately, Florida State ain't going there. Wow, I
know.
I'm shocked at how bad they are playing.
How the mighty have fallen. You know what I mean? In Tallahassee, Florida.
Nothing worse than starting out like a top 10 team and just getting hammered. I was like, oh my.
I know.
By I don't even know who they got beat by. Some of the teams, I'm like shocked who beat them too.
Just got manhandled. You know what I mean? By like these like no-namer teams. I
think like I don't know if it was a Marshall or somebody like it wasn't a team that should be beating Florida State, but
yeah.
I think the mistake up there in their coaching staff.
They should just get rid of these preseason rankings because they don't know the teams are good. Like the college football committee doesn't start till mid-October, like ranking teams, which is a good thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I said, there's no
It's just all hype, buddy. You know what I mean? It's hype. They got to get something out there before. It's just like everything else. Get it out there in front of everybody's faces. Get them all hyped up, and I don't even look at it either. I'm like, whatever. I don't, wherever Miami's at, I don't even care. Just win your first couple of games, and it'll pan out for you.
Yeah, and unfortunately, tomorrow's games are kind of, this is like the weekend where they pay all those like, mid-majors like $2 million to come to their stadium and hope for an easy win. Like it's just not a good slate, But once October hits, October, November, just not a bad weekend. It gets really good,
Yeah. I think you guys, Kent State? Are you playing?
Yeah, Kent State's on. They're playing Kent State tomorrow. So,
Miami's got a somewhat challenge just because of who it is. It's University of South Florida, USF. I think they played Alabama really tough in the beginning. They're always a tough team, and it's just players that didn't go to Miami because you're down in the Florida area. So it's a lot of players that knew each other in high school, and they have athletes, and they play teams tough. And even
those
the points
have gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
The Floridas,
It's not a rollover for Miami. There's a 14-point or something like that spread, which isn't much. Before it's like 35, 45 point spreads they were given the teams that they were playing.
Yeah.
So we'll see. They beat Florida pretty good. I was happy about that. That was the first game of the season. They opened up with Florida.
Nice.
Tell you what I'm missing. I know you mentioned Tech Mobile before for NFL, but how about NCAA college football came back this year?
Oh, do you have it?
I do not. I don't have the system that is capable of it. I have like an Xbox One, but there's been like 5 generations since the Xbox One, so my system won't even play it.
Yeah.
I would love to get it. My brother's played it. He said he loves it. It's outstanding. I heard it. I've seen the videos of it. They said they went pretty authentic and so many hours of commentary and just what they did to it. It looks unreal. Like Penn State comes out the way Penn State comes out, and music's on point. Everything looks really, really great. Actually, they tied some AI into it. They said to save a lot of time working on it, and they were able to develop those little intricacies of all college football, like the special things like Penn State has, the special things that Miami does. Like all the colleges have these little things about them, and they were able to put that in the game this year.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I just saw just on Twitter, like they rolled it out. I was just like, oh my god, this is so good. You know what I mean? They really did, took their time. Put out an amazing, and it's since the NIL, it has all the players. Their names, like it's like our friend Peter Tarr, his nephew who was on the Indiana Hoosiers, had a profile. He texted me his nephew's profile. He's a freshman on the Indiana Hoosiers, and he has a profile.
He's in a game.
Yeah, has a profile with his. This looks just like he's 18-year-old freshman. And they have him. It's
Can you imagine that? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's so good, and I'm just glad they're getting, because they deserve more than the scholarship. There's so much money in college. I mean, essentially, it's a professional sport being played on Saturdays now is what it is,
Right. Yeah, the money that football brings into these universities and colleges, it's the machine pretty much for most of them.
And those TV contracts, that's why pretty much those teams jump from the Pac-12 to the Big. It's because of the TV money. Is just what the Big Ten can negotiate with the networks and what the SEC can negotiate. It's just you can't touch it. You'd be foolish not to if they let you in to go. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's good. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. To see those see if Texas Longhorns. They've been off to a good start. They went to Michigan and hooked them.
Yeah.
And we'll see if they can roll now with the SEC schedule. So it's going to be really exciting. Really exciting.
Yeah, you got some good teams up there right now in that top 10 that I'm looking at, and you got like Tennessee. I heard is rolling pretty good too. The Vols are.
Yes, and that's the team they're like my personal favorite SEC team. I love the Tennessee Volunteers.
Oh yeah. I love the stadium. I love watching that stadium. Just those colors and that checkered end zone.
Yep. Yeah, the checkered end zone and the orange unis and like they have the Rocky Top tradition. Like if you just like go on YouTube and just like Google Rocky Top like during the game. It's so good. You know what I mean? It's just it just looks like a lot of fun, and you know it just looks like an amazing tailgating scene. And you're in Knoxville, Tennessee. It just looks
It looks like it'd be a good time, man. The Sea of Orange there. You got tomorrow. There's a few good games. I think Michigan and USC play tomorrow.
Do they? Yeah. Well, that's a good.
That's a 3:30 game tomorrow, so that'll be good to see. Michigan needs to lift themselves up, and USC they're 2-0. You got a couple of other teams like Utah and Oklahoma State. They're top ranked, like top 15 ranked teams. They're playing tomorrow too, both undefeated. So you do have a couple good games on tomorrow, which is nice. And Tennessee plays Oklahoma tomorrow, so that is a big one.
That's a good game. Yeah,
that's a 7:30 start for Eastern, so that's a good one.
Yeah, well, Tennessee, like I said, Oklahoma's the other new kid on the block in the SEC, but they definitely deserve to be in there. They're both Southern schools, you know what I mean? They're from Southern states, so you know what I mean? There's more, West. They just expanded to Texas and Oklahoma, but I think it's great. I mean, that brand of football, it's just, they've been doing it for 100 years, you know what I mean? So it's just really good,
And how about that story on Manning? Did he come in for Texas?
Manning's son, or
was there Manning? Is that who's quarterback in there now?
I don't know. That's a good question. Which son is it? Is it the oldest one who got hurt?
I think Arch Manning or something like that. I wasn't following it the whole way. Arch Manning maybe.
Yeah, because there was the oldest son who got hurt. He was like, but he got like a terrible fluke injury. I think he has a son, Arch. So I think is he at? I'm not sure where he is. Do you know where he is?
I think he's at Texas. I think he wasn't starting maybe, but he came in and he like blew the door open. I think he did really well when he got in.
Yeah, because obviously Archie Manning was good, and then Peyton was amazing, and I hope this kid carries on the Manning legacy because I do like Peyton Manning. You know what I mean?
I tell you, you know what? I watched the games, was the Monday Night Football games with the Manning brothers on.
Mm-hmm.
I watched them on the side. They're pretty good. They're funny, and they got some good guests that came in there.
Yeah,
because the simulcast there that they put it on the side there on like ESPN2 or something.
Yeah, they do. Yep,
they're pretty funny.
And I know Eli had that. He went undercover to a Penn State training camp. As like he was like in disguise. I didn't see it, but people said it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I seeing those guys out of the field. They're pretty funny. They have some good comedy in them.
Mm-hmm. I just like the way Peyton Manning, handled his career. He just did it the right way,
He did. I mean, that guy was, he did do it the right way.
And he was the fantasy man to have in like those seasons when he blew up those numbers, He was just unbelievable in like the mid 2000s. But like I said, the NFL is in full swing. So, and don't come at me at Twitter with rage tweets because I'm still a Minnesota Vikings fan. However, moving to Green Bay, I married into the Green Bay Packers. Okay. My wife and their family are multi-generational fans, and we got our opportunity when we moved here in 2022 to get season tickets, once in a lifetime. So we hopped on it. So I'm trying to groom my sons to be into the Green Bay culture, A, because they live in Wisconsin, and B, the ticket's going to be there someday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and
Green Bay's as a Bears fan, I mean, Green Bay's your arch nemesis, but I definitely follow them because of that, and it's a good place to play football.
Oh yeah, I mean Lambeau Field it lives up to all the expectations. It's so great. You know what I mean? It lives up to all the expectations that you would think it has. It's just an amazing place.
Dave, give me a 5-minute pause real quick. Not even like 2 minutes. I'll be right back. All right. Just 2 minutes. You can just keep it rolling. I'll cut this part out. I'll be right there.
Yeah. No worries.
All right, Dang, I'm back here.
Okay.
Dude, I'm dealing with a slug, man.
Was this a slug issue?
Yeah, they couldn't. I'm catching slugs right now and trying to. It's just nuts. Now, my dog has visited the area too, but
yeah, congratulations on finally recreating, Anakin Ralph Jones into Bubba Fett Jones. It took you a while, but you got it done.
Oh man, what a journey that was! I tell you what, Ding, he is one of the best investment I've made in a long time. He's awesome. Nothing but pure fun and just what a good dog, man. Since day one, never made a peep. Put him in a crate.
Yep.
He's just been a really good dog for everybody.
Great. That's perfect for your girls to grow up with, and it's the reincarnation of. He looks exactly like Anakin.
Oh,
Anakin,
it's crazy. It is.
Dog from 1998 to 2006, and he was a big part of our early 20s. Back in our drinking days.
Yeah. He was with us all the time, all the camping trips, and
yeah.
Come down to Bloomsburg, visit us every once in a while.
Yep. And, the famous attic at 506 South River, where he was constantly hanging with us, watching like the Chappelle Show.
Yeah, he'd like to hang out with the boys, man. He definitely did.
Yeah, he was a great dog, but it's amazing how much you found exactly like the brindle.
Oh, I can't believe it. It's when it came down to it, I didn't have pick of the litter because things happen, and I was like, all right, and somehow I got him still at pick 3.
Yeah. Well, hey, it worked out. It took you a while, but it worked out. So
yeah, it's worth it. Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely. Plus, you'll get the health. You know what I mean? Hopefully, you'll get a nice long life out of.
Yeah, we hope so. He's big. He's about 80 pounds now. 80 pounds in 8 months.
Wow. Is he like solid muscle like Anakin?
Yep, he's a big muscle ball.
Yeah. That's amazing. So good, man. Well, congratulations on the dog.
Yeah, thanks. He's been great. He's got his own YouTube channel. He's got about 90 videos on the YouTube channel.
Great. Yeah. I have here in Wisconsin, we have the kennel going. We have 5 golden retrievers at the house. So
yeah, buddy, you got your hands full, bud. You got a lot of them up there.
Running a kennel, but I enjoy it. You know what I mean? I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I was denied a dog in my childhood, so I'm overcompensating now.
Good dogs, though, man. Golden retrievers are awesome. My neighbor has 2 of them over here, and they're just I think the most friendliest dog in the planet.
They are. They're good with the kids too.
Yep.
So 3 are ours and 2 are the in-laws. So but it's still a lot of fun. It's like running a kennel, but I enjoy it.
My brother has a dog now too.
Oh, really? What kind of dog did he?
With him, Sarah, and they have it's actually a golden retriever yellow lab mix.
Oh.
So he's Boba's best friend.
Oh, nice.
He's got about 2 months on him. They get together all the time and play. They just play nonstop.
It's good. I didn't know your brother got a dog. That's
yeah. We just had him in the river the other day. There's the golden lab swims like he's like an Olympic swimmer. He's excellent at it.
Yeah.
Boba not so much, but he likes the water still.
About to say, yeah, they're not really water dogs, Yeah.
My old Anakin could swim. He was a really good swimmer. Boba's not as much.
Yeah. Oh God, that's funny. My young dog is a crazy swimmer. He'll swim across the entire lake.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he doesn't know boundaries. So like we on our summer vacation, we were at a Wisconsin lake, and he was in the water. He just kept going.
Sometimes you get worried. You're like, okay, how far are you going to go before you sink? I mean,
yeah.
Hopefully your dogs doesn't wear them out.
And we had a hard time getting him to turn around. And he finally did. We had actually go out on the boat.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that with one of my younger ones, Dala. She did the same thing out at the dam, the Francis Water Dam. She went swimming and she wouldn't come back. And I was like, what are we going to do? She's going to run out of steam and start sinking.
Yeah.
So luckily I was able to.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I'm in Northeast Wisconsin now. That's what it reminds me of. It definitely reminds me of the Francis Water Dam Squirrel Trees property. It's just like it. You know what I mean? So it's awesome. Unfortunately, those days came to an end, but there were many good times at that
Yeah, we had a good time going up there. It was definitely experiences I'll never forget. Definitely, all that stuff made me what I am today. I still like getting out in the woods, and I try squeezing out there. Now, if I can, it's up at Uncle Dave's cabin. That's where I like to go now.
Yeah, the old Bluebird.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yep. Yep. That's a great place too.
Yeah.
But the epic trout weekends were just
Oh,
epic.
you had to be there to understand it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. They were just epic. And every year was different. I mean, one year would be a drought, one year would be rain, one
Yeah.
year
Didn't
warm.
matter though. Didn't matter. Everybody still looked like they're having a good time. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So my favorite were probably 20 years ago, like the 2003, 2004 era, because that era, everyone from your
That was
family.
kind of our era, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it kind of got taken over by a couple a little bit younger crowd. I thought
Once your
it
brother's
was
friends came of age, it kind of got out of hand.
I thought it was the Lewisburg Fairgrounds or something. I'm like, what's going on here?
It kind of got out of hand when they came of age, but
yeah, a little bit.
But it's all good,
Yep.
It's all good. Our prime years, it's probably 2003. That was my favorite time up there,
Yeah.
So, just a lot of good times.
Yes, there were. How about the other night? Did you catch how do your Green Bay Packer fans out there feel about Aaron Rodgers out there in the Jets now?
Yeah, well, I think they weren't sad to see him go. You know what I mean? Because he's strange. He's just a strange guy.
I was gonna say, different dude. He is different, man.
He's strange. You know what I mean? And he's not. Like Brett Favre came from Mississippi and fit in perfect here.
Yeah.
He went to Minnesota to end his career and did well there. They still love Brett Favre. But Aaron Rodgers, I don't think they're going to let him into the Hall of Fame. I mean, they're not going to retire his number. I tell you that right now. They're not. The bar to retire your number here is so high. The bar here and expectations here are sky high. I mean, Lombardi's trophy is named after their coach, Lombardi Trophy. The original coach, Lambeau Field, Curly Lambeau, is what the field's named after. You know what I mean? They won the first two Super Bowls under Lombardi. They won in the 90s under Brett Favre, and then they won in 2010 with Aaron Rodgers. But I just with him, he kind of left it with a bad taste in the mouth, and he's just so strange, locking himself in a room for 4 months or whatever. They're just go to New York. You know what I mean? And and I mean, they'll probably put him in the Ring of Fame. Like they put Charles Woodson in the Ring of Fame, but that's how good you have. I mean, they only retire you if you're pretty much, you have to be Reggie White good on defense, or Brett Favre good on offense, or Bart Starr. You know what I mean? From the 60s. They only have 4 or 5 retired numbers, and it's a very high standard. They'll probably let Rodgers in the Ring of Fame because that's where the other good players go, but they're not going to retire. I'll tell you that right now. They're not going to retire his number.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bears I think have the most retired numbers. They said, I believe it is, but only a few guys. Walter Payton being one of them. Mike Ditka being one of them.
Yeah, well, that's all well deserved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to retire. Like you said, Rodgers' number will not be. I highly doubt they'd retire that number.
Yeah, and the big construction projects happening in Chicago, they're going to update Soldier Field. So
yeah, I still don't know if they put a stamp on if it's going to be there again or if they're actually moving to a different location. It went back and forth, and seemed like it was in motion, and they switched again. So, but I mean, something's definitely coming. Yeah, they were going to move to Arlington Heights. I guess the old horse racetrack field out there, and a lot of land. They said would be a lot better for parking. The biggest complaint they give out there is there's no parking, and they just
it's not. No, it's literally right on Lake Michigan.
And so I mean, beautiful spot, but just the whole thing with the traffic and stuff, and just trying to get in there stuff.
No, it's impossible. You have to take public transportation in.
Yeah, I saw some of the mock-ups for it though. I mean, what they're showing from the mock-ups look fantastic.
Yes, and they're going to go. I know it's it's kind of a mixed bag in Chicago about them going indoors. You know what I mean? But the advantage is that it'll be a year-round facility. Lambeau Field football only. You know what I mean?
Right. You're right. You need that. At this day and age, with so much going on, you're going to bring concerts in the winter and whatever else. You'd be able, like you said, a year-round facility meant for the public and the people, and just could use that.
You can bid for the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They'll probably give it to Chicago once it's done. You know what I mean? I can see that out.
Right. Yeah.
But I just think it's well overdue. I mean, they have to do something there. So to catch up with everybody else. With the top-notch facilities. So it's still up in the air. They're still talking about that suburban site.
Yeah. I have. I've been trying to follow it, and then it just kept going back and forth. So I was like, all right, I'll wait till I hear something really solid on this.
Yeah.
So, hey, are you? We're coming up almost on an hour here, so I have to wind down myself. But are you in fantasy football anymore again, or no?
I am. Yes. I'm in an old school league. Yep. With run by Brian Harris, one of our classmates.
Oh yeah.
So he has like a league. So I'm in his league. So it's a lot of fun. It's a competitive league.
Good. Yeah, it's fantasy is man. The injuries in the National Football League are many. Everybody's hurt.
Yep.
I luckily am 2-0 in both my leagues. I'm in 2 leagues, and I'm in 2-0 after I was. It's pretty funny. The one league I'm in, they rate you right there, and I was rated like a D in the one league, and in my other league, I was rated an E, and I was actually put in last place by ESPN. Well, I'm 2-0 in both of them right now, so I could speak highly for now. We'll see what happens.
That's good. Yeah, I'm 1-1, so we'll see what happens. I think I have a pretty good team. So, fantasy's great. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of fun.
It's fun when you have time for it. It's it's tough juggling everything together. Sometimes I'm like, oh, forgot my fantasy team.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun though. I mean, it just makes the game. The NFL has the best product out there in sports entertainment. It's just so good.
Yeah.
And like I said, their final product is the Super Bowl, and it's the most watched event in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if they could just get that Monday off for all of us, it'd be wonderful.
Yeah, I know. Well, they're talking about moving to the President's Day weekend,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, when everybody has that Monday off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's been talk about moving it like a week back so people can get that. I mean, not everybody gets President's Day off, but it is a federal holiday, so a lot of people do. So
right.
They're the king of the schedule. They have it. I mean, they're brilliant at everything they do. They're brilliant,
They are a monster. They've done it right.
Oh, it just gets a better product. I mean, the game has changed, but it's just a very entertaining product. So I just think it's the best in sports entertainment. It's just so good.
Oh, when NFL's over, it's a downer.
It's a downer,
and there's just nothing that competes with it. Nothing. It's just they try throwing some of those other leagues on TV just because they can, but there's just nothing out there. Although I didn't even know. I guess last year the XFL tried. I think it was like a merger between 2 leagues. I didn't even know what that was last year.
Yeah, there's a couple of little spring leagues out there. You know what I mean? But they all, you know what I mean? It's just kind of. I mean, it's good if they can survive and get some people some jobs and stuff. But I just football, I just can't.
Oh, it's nothing like the NFL though. Nothing.
No.
Although college football stands right next to it. I mean, when college football is wonderful too. The whole college football NFL season is just a wonderful way to go back in for me back into school. It's a way to put a cap on summer, kind of like here comes fall, and it rides us till right till you get to that one point of winter where it kind of dies out. It's like right after New Year's. Winter's kind of quiet at that point until like spring rolls around.
No, yeah, because it ends in the middle of February where the winter's still going, and it's just a Debbie Downer. It's just like because there's no other sports. Like it's just the NBA's going on, the NHL's going on, but that's not their playoffs don't start till April, and it's just a big lull. You know what I mean? But, Now for me, I mean, I'm just a football guy now. I just only being a father now. I don't have time for other sports. I just don't.
No, it's football. I'm lucky if I can watch those games even, but
yeah.
If I can, I am watching them.
No doubt. So, all right. So we're getting to about 45 minutes with that break. So do you want to, can you tell the listeners how to find us, Todd?
We're going to be on the same podcast. I'm going to put us back out there again. So you can just look for the Harding to Jones podcast. Right now we're on Apple Podcast.
Okay.
I'll be working my way to get us out there on some other platforms too. So
Okay.
starting off a little slow. We're going to roll back into this again and catch up again soon. And we'll keep building our product. Maybe it'll be like the NFL one day.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we'll be like the Kelsey brothers, you know?
Yeah, we're working on it.
That'd be nice. But yeah, like I said, let me know and we'll post on our social media feeds to get the word out to people we know and just see what happens. You know what I mean? So thanks again, Brown, for motivating us. And thank you, Todd, for always doing all the technical work because we couldn't do this podcast without your know-how. So
sounds good, buddy. All right, man.
All right. So
good talking.
Until next time.
Till next time.
See you, bud.
Cheers. Later.